Wall Street Memes Casino,
I'm fine.
and Sportsbook.
This is Colm McGuigan for IFLTV. Delighted to be joined by Roberto Diaz in Las Vegas. Roberto, it's always a pleasure to have you on IFL. I think at first we must get to the Ryan news. What do you make of that news coming out, the breaking news from last night that Ryan Garcia has tested positive?
Well, first of all, thank you for having me. It's always a pleasure. Send all my best to all the fans across the pond, especially in Ireland, to my good friend Jason Quigley. You know, whenever news like this breaks, because I've been through events like this in the past, it's always like, okay, let's get more information, let's get more proof, let's find out the circumstances behind. I think as boxing, we're too fast to judge and convict. I think like anything in life, we need to, you know, get all the information and really find out the facts before we go ahead and make our decision.
Do you believe that, in your opinion, do you know anything about this substance? Do you know the benefits of that substance itself, or are you not too sure on that?
Just what I've read on the substance. That's why it's important to find out what the levels are. Could it be from any other natural causes that provide those? Look, I was very heavily involved in 2 cases with clenbuterol and Francisco Vargas and Canelo Alvarez. And I know for a fact that those both cases were from contamination of food. And it's very common. It's actually a very bad problem, epidemic in Mexico, because it is used in cattle. It's not an issue here in the U.S. because the cattle that's exported from Mexico, from the north, to the border towns, those are the exported, it would be an international problem. So there is cases where it is from contamination depending on the country you live in of what you're consuming. In this particular case, I am familiar with the substance based on what I read, but I'd have to find out and know how it can be ingested outside of obviously putting it into your body purposely.
In terms of yesterday, we've seen crazy scenes, probably something that we didn't expect to see with Canelo and Oscar on stage. You're in the privileged position in this world of having worked so closely with both guys. What's your opinion on how that went down yesterday?
Well, in boxing, there's one thing that we should always have in mind, keep in mind, expect the unexpected. It's boxing. I think what we saw yesterday, like you said, maybe wasn't expected, but it shouldn't be a shock or a surprise. It was the talk of the town. It was, you know, it went viral. It was everywhere. So in one sense, you put your promoter hat on, it was good. It's people are talking about it now. You know, obviously when you see Jaime and Canelo speaking, there's a lot of respect. And that's very common with the characteristics of both fights. I think this added some sauce into it. However, on the Canelo side, it pushed some buttons. And I think Saturday night, if we were already going to see an explosion, I think now it's going to be added bonus and added reason more so. So at the end of the day, if that provides us with a better fight, I'm all for it.
I heard HEARN speak today. He was in Birmingham at a press conference, and he said he spoke with Canelo Alvarez last night. Canelo was very angry at the situation. He said he wouldn't be surprised if Canelo slapped Oscar. What's your reaction to those comments?
No, you know, one thing about Canelo is you could see, and from years of knowing, is he's not going to back down, and that's why he responded. He's a fighter, and he's very quiet, very cool-tempered, but when you push those buttons. But I could see him putting that under control. I don't see, unless he's pushed into that position. The talking, he'll talk back. And I mean, Oscar's not going to go throw a punch at him or anything like that. So unless he gets touched, he won't touch back.
In terms of the mood, you're obviously very close with the Canelo camp now. How is Canelo going into this fight, and do you believe that we are going to see the best Canelo on Saturday night?
I think he's going in knowing what he has in front of him, a hungry, young, strong. He may be seeing something in the mirror. You know, I know where Munguia is. I know what he wants to do because I was there and I've been there, done that. So that motivates him to prepare, to be ready. And I think we will see, I'm not going to say the best version of him, but a very good version of him. We're going to see some counter punching. We're going to see some boxing. We're going to see some power punches. And as long as the fight lasts, I believe we're going to have a great fight. The fans are going to be very proud. The Mexican fans should be very proud. And at the end of the day, Munguia will walk out with his head up and proud of himself because he went in there and tried against the best fighter that he's ever faced.
Last one from me. I know you're a busy man today, but just a personal question on you. What's the situation with yourself now, obviously working for Sheer Sports? What fighters have you got, and what maybe can the fans in the UK expect from Roberto Diaz going forward?
Well, I'm very happily, I partnered up with a company in Los Angeles, partnered up with Ken Shear and Lyle Green with Sheer Sports Management, working with fighters. That's always been my passion, working with the fighters, developing fighters. Even through my years in the promotional game, it was really one-on-one with the fighters in their progress of their career. Right now we're working with world champion super flyweight Delaida Ruiz. We're working with Raquel Miller, who's very close to a world title fight. Victor Morales, who's in a position of an eliminator. Just signed a young man, Joel Uriarte, that is going to be making a lot of noise. He's already made his debut, 2 fights into the game, 2 knockouts. And a heavyweight, Ronnie Hines, amongst others. And look, for the UK, continue working with Jason Quigley, developing young fighters in Ireland and in the UK, and managing them, bringing them out to the States, and hopefully doing more shows in Ireland. I really loved it last year. We did 2 events, and looking forward to do more.
Well, Roberto, it's always a pleasure. Hopefully catch up with you again this fight week, and good luck for Saturday night, and obviously being on that Canelo camp, it'll be good to see.
Thank you so much. You don't want to miss Saturday night. It's going to be hell.
Wall Street Memes Casino
I'm fine.
and Sportsbook.